Welcome to Pinal County Cowboy Church. We were thrilled to be a part of this expansion project here at the church. The room I'm in right now, this was actually the original worship sanctuary at the church, and then they just built on this new expansion that converted this space into holding only a couple hundred people to 500 people. So let's go check it out. Churchfront has been working with this church and the worship pastor here, Steve Daca, for a few years now. He actually signed up for the Churchfront Accelerator program to get some coaching and courses. And over time, the church continued to grow and it came time for this expansion. So Steve let us know, hey, we've got a larger integration project coming up. We'd love you guys to be a part of that. So we were glad to be a part of that, and that's what you guys are gonna see here today. We deployed the full-on AVL here at this church. We got a brand new PA system, we got acoustic treatment, we've got a new lighting system, mixing system, microphones, integration racks, computer workstation, the whole shebang. So check out the saddle. I had never heard about Cowboy churches until we started working with Pinal County Cowboy Church, and they're kind of like Baptists, but cowboys. They actually even hold like rodeos out in the parking area. So it's pretty insane the type of cool stuff they do here at the church. And it was such a pleasure working with them on this project. The community here they're super hard workers, especially the week when we deployed the system. It was also the week they were gonna launch the first worship service in this new expansion. They just had so many volunteers here helping us out, and it was really cool to see. And shout out to Ryan and the team at Titus Building Company. It was really cool working alongside of them and working across all the other trades to coordinate everything that has to happen for an AVL project of this size. They did a fantastic job, and they even took care of some of the things like hanging the acoustic panels that you see around the room, and they were just a huge help to us throughout this process. Okay, so as we walk around the room, you're gonna see Prime Acoustic panels. So we have their 2-foot by 4-foot wall panels in the linen finish, and it looks really great. Kind of complements the gray neutral tones of this room, and of course, more importantly, it helps a ton when it comes to just controlling the energy in the room. We wanted to make sure the room was properly treated before we deployed this fantastic PA system that I'm gonna walk you guys through. The sound system we deployed in this room was by Fulcrum Acoustic, and let's start with the subwoofers. Do you guys think we have enough subwoofers in this space? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 dual 18 subwoofers by Fulcrum Acoustic. And when you have them on the ground like this, it's good to have them kind of spread the whole width of the stage here so that you have really great even coverage. Probably could have got away with fewer subwoofers if we were able to fly them, but due to some structural limitations there, that wasn't a route that we could go. So we have 4 of them going across the stage here. It's a lot of subwoofer, but what's nice is as you walk across the room, you have even coverage of those low frequencies wherever you're at. And then right next to the subwoofers here, we actually have 3 front fill speakers here. So this is really important for the folks in the first couple rows. The main speakers are gonna be too far above their heads and they kind of go over their heads. These front fills make sure that even if you're in the front row, you're getting adequate sound. And of course, this was all tuned properly by our audio designers, so people aren't gonna get blasted by these speakers here in the front. It's just enough to make it feel balanced. So we've got a left, a center, and a right, and they are just floor mounted here with the Fulcrum yokes onto the stage. For our main speakers, we've got 3 mains. We've got a left, center, and a right. The center speaker is a 15-inch coaxial speaker by Fulcrum, and it's very compact and has a really great coverage pattern to it. Really gets a lot of the folks sitting in the center portion of the room. This room has kind of that, like, it's a bit wide here in the main portion of it, so this is why we had to have this type of configuration of the speakers to make sure everybody gets covered evenly. So then you see on the left and right, we have the 12-inch Fulcrum coaxial speaker. So very similar type model, just a little bit smaller, and it makes sure that even when folks are over here on the side, they are getting fantastic coverage from the system. So here we are in the overflow area. This was the older existing part of the building, used to be their original sanctuary. And we have two more of the Fulcrum coaxial speakers. These are also the 12-inch speakers. So these easily fill this entire space. So even folks who are back here in this overflow area, they're gonna get a great sound as well. And this area is also kind of flexible in how it's used. It can be obviously part of the Sunday service, but they're also planning on hosting like Bible studies here. And we have it set up with their system where they can easily just have audio coming from these speakers and they don't have to have audio going through the main speakers. I think it's time to show you guys the rack build, and I'm gonna hand it over to Luke, and he's gonna walk you through the rest of the audio system, like amps, wireless microphones, the mixing setup, and then we'll talk about some of the other solutions we implemented here as well. Oh, so check this out, guys. Let's turn the lights off. We've got the Lowell rack build here. Just check out the aura we got going on in here. Wow. It's a really great rack room. Minus the scorpion that I found in here earlier tonight that tried to attack me. But let's go ahead and I'll hand it over to Luke. He can walk you through it.
So we were really privileged to have a great rack room to work with, and so we actually deployed 2 Lowell racks. These are 44-unit Lowell racks, and we have this kind of larger closet room for these racks to really have room to work around them, be able to run cable behind them. We had a great time kind of configuring these racks, and so this is a great room. We don't always get this great of a space in terms of the amount of space we have to work with, but this definitely gave us the ability to be able to all work in here comfortably as we got this system up and running. So let's start from the ground up and we'll do a rack tour to let you guys know what we got here. So we've got our PowerSoft amps, and these are Dante amps that are running our subs down at the 8804s, and then our mains and our front fills are being powered by the 4804s and 2404s. Again, all over Dante, connected to the network for configuration. So we have easy access to deploy audio through the Dante network to our system, but we also have access to hop onto the network and actually configure settings as we need to make adjustments in the future through these great PowerSoft amps. We went with the Allen Heath SQ7 for our front of house console, and so one of the things that we did was upgrade their digital Snake. They were moving from a QU system, so they needed a new stage box to move into the digital realm of mixing, and so we got them a 4816 digital Snake here and an MEU hub to power their ME1 units for monitoring on the stage. So this allowed us to get all of their inputs. We'll show you the stage here in a bit, but we brought in our XLR cables from the stage pockets and piped them right in here so that the patching is really easy and straightforward. And then we've got some outputs routed for our ATEM switcher, but that's our digital Snake and our MEU hub. As we move up, we've got some PDUs just powering things as we go up. And then we come to our microphone system, and this is the Shure ULXD 4Q system. This is, again, another Dante tool that we like to use when deploying systems that are clean and easy for management. So these are 4 units in one rack unit. So this is mic 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've got 3 of those. They have 12 channels of wireless, and they're all going out one network port out of the back of these ULXD units into our network switch, transferring all of the Dante information of the microphones as well as network control using wireless workbench to monitor RF signal, to monitor audio signal, and that allows us to really make sure that we don't have to keep running back and forth to the rack room to adjust gain or check RF signal and strength. We can do all of that from the front of house machines. As we move up, we've got another PDU for some power supply, and then we've got our Lowell power sequencer. This is the Sequence, it's SEQR P4. So it's got 4 steps of sequencing that you can wire things into, and we actually used pass-through connectors for our RPC units on this build so that everything actually daisy chains and passes through just simple RJ45 Ethernet connections on these RPC units that allows us to tie everything together, and then with one switch on the front of this rack, we can shut down and power up these racks in the appropriate sequence so that you don't hear those big clicks and pops in your audio system. So that is our audio rack 1. So here we are at rack number 2. This is kind of our video workstation lighting rack. And so we've got a little bit of everything here. And of course, we've got a PDU up at the top for power supply. We've got a HyperDeck Mini for recording the services locally on SD cards. We've got our ATEM 2ME Constellation. In the past, Pinal County was running an old ATEM television studio 4K with a smart video hub of 12 by 12. And so they had a multiple rack unit deployment for their video solution. The nice thing about these Constellations is that they really are a switcher and a video hub in one rack unit. So it cuts down the amount of spaces we have to use, and it simplifies the spots we go when troubleshooting. We don't have to consider multiple pieces of equipment. We can really just look at the ATEM Constellation as the hub for where all video distribution is coming from. Moving on now, we've got our workstation set up. So a couple different things here. We've got our X-Mac mini server where our computer graphics workstation is coming from. This computer is running ProPresenter, and it's also running our LightKey software and wireless workbench software, Dante controller. We're running a Decklink Duo out of the back of this X-Mac mini server, going right into the Constellation for our main screens, our confidence monitor, our lower thirds, as well as our announcement loop on ProPresenter. Moving down the line, we've got a couple different shelves here, and one is for our Resi Ray encoder. They're using the Resi Ray encoder to encode their broadcast services. So this is taking a feed from their ATEM Constellation, encoding their audio and video, sending it over SDI into their Ray encoder, and they're streaming to multiple places online, their website, Facebook, and YouTube. So that is their Resi Ray encoder. We've got our Churchfront NUC for remote access plugged into their network switch. So if they need additional configurations, they add any equipment in the future, we can easily remotely access all of the gear in these racks, as well as anything that they might plug in front of house and be able to help remotely troubleshoot any questions in the future. Moving on down, we've got our KVM station. So these are the kind of the brains and the heart of our system and our clean workstations here when we do a Churchfront integration project. So we've got a ProPresenter KVM transmitter, an ATEM computer. So we've got actually kind of a switcher computer that lives in our broadcast room that we'll show you later, that runs ATEM software control and is really used to monitor most of the graphics and things that they're sending out to their broadcast through that computer. And then we've got a Logic computer transmitter here. So they're sending Dante channels from their front of house console over the Dante network to this Mac Mini running Logic Pro, and then an external company is helping them mix that live on a Sunday morning. Moving on down, we've got our Rack Mac Mini server. This guy hosts our two Mac Minis up here, our ATEM computer and our Logic computer, right in one clean rack unit. These are super great and easy to deploy, and they have great housing for airflow, and so these Mac Minis run super efficiently and looks really clean rather than having a big Mac Mini sitting on the desk at the workstation. One more PDU right here for the computers and network supply. Another shelf where we're housing their wireless internet router and a couple extra cables for them in the future. And then we come to our network switch. This is the Netgear AV line of switches. This is the M4250-26. And so we've got, plenty of ports essentially for what they need here. And again, we love these Netgear AV lines because all the ports are in the back. And so you really have a clean look from the front. You don't have a bunch of patch bay cables kind of hitting the front and, kind of drawing your attention in. It's just one clean look. You have status indicators across the front, so you always know what is plugged in, and if something fails, you can see the resulting flash or beacon of light there telling you that it's not functioning. But this is a great unit, and you can flip these around. You can put the ports in the front if you wish, but I personally love the clean aesthetic from the front view. So all the cables can be sent to the back. Last but not least, we've got our DMX distro for our Pro Church Lights integration. We've got 4 lines of DMX distro happening, helping us navigate our kick light and our front wash. And then we've also obviously got our converter to USB so that we can run it on LightKey. At the very bottom, we've got our uninterruptible power supply, battery backup for the entire rack. And one of the things we want when we deploy a rack is to have easy visibility for any kind of gear, so that if you are walking in, troubleshooting, kind of trying to figure out what you're looking at, And so a lot of times you'll see LED tape. I think LED tape is a great solution, but we went with the Lowell rack light panel on this build, and I think these lights do a great job at showing you everything down below the rack. They kind of fit right nestled in the indent of the actual rack itself, so everything is super visible. You can read what's on the labels, you can see all of your gear, and so it really makes navigating, you know, a dark rack room on a Sunday morning where you're trying not to be a distraction, getting in and out. You don't have to come in and flip on all the lights. You can actually just navigate what you're seeing just from these rack lights. So we've been super impressed with the build quality of these guys.
So what's nice about the placement of this rack room is we have all of our speaker, our data, our video cable, everything is coming down through the conduit. It's going into the rack here, and easy access even from the back side of the rack. And I want to show you guys next our stage pockets, because that was quite the project. So you're seeing obviously the rack side of it here. These are all of the XLR terminations here from the stage pockets by Whirlwind. So let's head on to the stage and check it out. Welcome to the stage. So we installed these Whirlwind custom stage plates. This was a lot of fun, and by fun I mean a lot of work and time went into this. But these are the FP3 floor pockets, and then we got the FP4 larger ones by the drums. So what's cool is this can be completely customized. You have two places to put your plates on the bottom, and then a little slanted one here. I like the bottom because you can I feel like it's easier to see and read it, but if you wanted more connectors, you could get them here. This is all custom order, all the labels, the types of connectors. So we've got 6 channels of XLR here, and then we've got a couple data runs from the MEU Hub for in-ear monitors. We've got the ME1s on stage, and then we've got another data for Dante, and then we've got video. If they want to put a camera on stage here, they can send video to the rack room through those very convenient ports. I will say, just a heads up, this was our first time deploying these types of custom stage boxes, and there's a lot that goes into them, both on the material side as well as just the labor, the time to make all those terminations, the soldering that has to get done both on this end and the rack room side of it. So just a heads up, if you want to add this to one of your designs, we would be glad to do it, but it's gonna be a little pricey. On stage here, we've got the ME1 personal mixers by Allen & Heath. These guys are like the flagship in-ear monitor system from Allen & Heath. Up to what, 48 channels? It's up to 40 channels that you can mix inside here. It has all sorts of convenient features to group things together. Just makes it really easy for musicians on stage to get the mix they need, and of course it's gonna sound great. And these units are powered by a single data cable, power over Ethernet, and of course this is how it gets the audio data as well. Speaking of cables, I've been a big fan of these very thin true cable patch cables. They're just especially on stage like this, they kind of just disappear instead of your traditional patch cable that's much thicker. So highly recommend checking those out. True Cable patch cables. Not sponsored, should be. If True Cable just wants to send us a bunch of cables, that would be great, because we buy a lot. This is the EFNote Pro 703 drum set in the modern configuration. And you guys have seen this drum set before. It's all electric. It looks fabulous, it sounds amazing. It's got the very powerful stage box down here. So this drum set, we're sending out, I don't know, 9 or so outputs. So we've got kick, snare, 3 toms. They're gonna add another tom. You got stereo overheads, and then you've got the ride cymbal and the hats. For this configuration, we got DW3000 hardware because once you buy the set, you still need a kick pedal and a hi-hat stand. So we got the DW3000 kick pedal and hi-hat stand. And then we also purchased the Whirlwind 12-channel Snake right here to make a nice clean connection to our stage box. So highly recommend getting this type of setup when you are deploying this type of system for the first time. So let's talk about lights. These are Pro Church lights fixtures. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pro Wash Maxes, and it kind of speaks to the power and output of these lights. They're able to cover this stage, which is probably somewhere in the 30 to 35 feet wide range. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 kick lights. So those kick lights are great for hair lights. They can add color and kind of add more depth to the stage. This is a very simple but very effective lighting setup for any church, really. And it really helps them, especially on their live stream. I think their cameras look fantastic with the lighting in this room. For visuals, they opted to go for some big screen TVs here. These are either 75 or 85-inch TV screens. They actually work pretty great. It's also a very cost-effective solution to throw your ProPresenter content up here, lyric slides, backgrounds, sermon slides, videos, you name it. But I do think, you know, it would look fantastic to have an altitude LED wall here on the back wall at some point. So maybe someday we'll do that type of upgrade.
So here we are at front of house at Pinal County Cowboy Church, and this is a great kind of demonstration of not only the quality of work that Titus did in the general contracting process, but also they brought over with a new revision and addition to their building. They were trying to be fairly cost effective and use what they could that they already had on hand. So a lot of what you see here is own refurbished equipment, but also you will notice some adequate upgrades. So Pinal County moved from the QU32 mixing console with an analog snake to an SQ7 with the S-Link digital snake protocol going back to the stage rack that you saw earlier. The SQ7 also has a Dante card in it, so that allows us to transfer high quality audio basically anywhere with a network connection all over a single network cable. We've got the Allen Heath SQ7 hooked up to the network as well, so it's got its own IP address, which allows us to control the mixer from the SQ iPad app as well as in the SQ mixpad on the computer. One of the ways that Churchfront uses this with our clients is that we download the SQ mixpad app on the computer at front of house, and then we also put a remote desktop client called Jump Desktop Connect on that computer, so that if a client is ever trying to patch a special service or having kind of troubleshooting issues where they can't figure out where an issue might be coming from, we can actually remote into their computer and it's synced up with the console so that we can actually see what the console is doing. We can control the console, we can troubleshoot alongside them, so that they're not alone in that troubleshooting process. So it's one of the great tools of technology that we like to deploy in our integration projects. Like I said, they're running ProPresenter 7 on this computer, so here's where they're displaying and sending out all of their main screen graphics, their lower thirds content. They've got this great multi-view over here showing you the main screen, the lobby announcement loop that's going on, their lower thirds or their broadcast feed, and their current and next slide demonstration for their confidence monitor. So this is ProPresenter 7. They're running Light Key to control their lights on stage. This is a really simple lighting setup, like Jake said earlier, and so their grid is very clean, very simple. And I've just done a couple easy things for them in terms of their navigation, and they're doing a front wash, and I have some dimmer settings so that they can go anywhere from fairly low for something, you know, a little bit more mellow and chill, all the way to, you know, full blast in the room. And then their Pro Kicks, I programmed different colors so they can easily switch between the colors on stage doing the actual kick light, and then gave them different dimmer settings as well to those kick lights, so that if it's ever a little bit too bright or too intense for the current scenario, they can just decrease it to 50% or 20%, or even turn them all the way off in that setting. So Pinal County isn't gonna be doing a whole lot of moving and theatrical lighting, but they wanted a simple setup to make their cameras look better and to make their people kind of have that depth of field on their broadcast. So this is a super easy way to do that. We've got a Stream Deck here for some easy control of some presets and macros within the computer, a very easy tool, 15-button tool. And you'll see that this is our KVM receiver getting that feed from the rack room connected to the computer all right here. So you don't see any big computer towers, you don't see any Mac Mini sitting on the desk, nothing of that nature. You'll just see one network cable feeding that receiver, and that will power that entire computer. And last thing I wanted to show you and showcase about this setup is running this brand new software called LiveTracks by Harrison Audio. And LiveTracks is a great solution if you're looking for a really clean and minimal setup for recording your tracks of a live service on Sunday morning and playing them back using virtual sound check in a really minimal and easy way. The thing that LiveTracks really excels at is easy setup, setting up as many channels as you need for your recording of your live show. And you'll notice it kind of resembles a DAW. So it looks kind of like a Logic Pro or an Ableton, has some of the same features that we've seen in waveform, but it doesn't come with a lot of the extra mixing features that you would use in a traditional DAW. It's really designed for recording live audio and playing back live audio. So you've got all of your armed tracks, you've got your kind of tape machine style record and play. And then one of the benefits here is that you can actually send your tracks multi-out back to the board, but you can also convert the whole thing to a stereo out and kind of assess your mix after you're done recording your tracks. You could convert this over to the stereo out and kind of hear what that balanced mix would sound like, maybe in a nice set of headphones, to give you some real feedback on what your mix sounds like as a whole, rather than isolated multiple out tracks. So really impressed with how easy this LiveTracks software is. There is a license fee of $14.99 at the time of this recording, but it's a one-time purchase price, and I think well worth it for the ease of use and setup. And then the rumor is, in the future, it will have auto sync for naming of your channels from the Allen & Heath line of consoles. Already does this on some of the more flagship end consoles, but on the SQ line of consoles, they're still gonna be rolling out that feature in the future, where when you connect your board, it will actually bring over all of your names of your channels into your recording so that you have easy navigation through your virtual sound check. So at Pinal County, they're running a couple of Blackmagic cameras as their main cameras for their live stream. This one is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro, and this looks great with great lighting now on the stage. This is a great shot. You can check out some of their live stream shots either in this video or on their YouTube channel and see just how clear the talent on stage looks. So they mainly use this as their follow camera during service for their main shot, to capture the band, to zoom in on different band members, and to highlight those who are doing announcements or prayer. And then they have a wide angle Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K as their center shot of the room. So at any time they can use that camera as a transitionary shot and go back and forth between the two images, and I think they look great.
All right, so on the other side of the room, we have the broadcast control room. So it's kind of cool layout of the building and how they put this room over here. I'm a fan. So come on in here. First of all, as you turn the corner, just look how pretty it looks. So pretty. I'm pretty proud of my cable management skills, you know, like screwing those cable raceways up there, putting the cables in, putting the sticky raceways on. A few things happen in this room. So this workstation here, as you can see, we got ATEM control software and a multi-view. So this is where their video director sits, and this it's a nice chair. It's kind of like a hair salon chair. Oh, I need to sit after a long day like today, man. And this is where they're able to make all their changes, so they can go ahead and, you know, change their video angles. Only one of the cameras on right now. Over here is actually a computer that is going to be running Logic Pro. So this is where we have Dante. You can see our Dante network here. We got Dante virtual sound card. So if you're new to Dante, it is audio over a network, and you can send up to, this computer can receive and send 64 channels of audio. So we've got pretty much all 48 channels, I think, are all routed one-to-one from front of house to this broadcast mixing station here. Yep, we can see it right here. It's all patched. So we have all that raw audio coming from front of house, and that is just pulling the audio from when it hits the stage box before it gets altered by front of house. So at Logic here, they're getting the raw audio, and they have a template, and this is where all the magic happens for their live stream. If they want to mix it here, they can mix it here. They could also probably have a pretty great mix if they wanted to mix off of the front of house console, create another matrix. Lots of options here with this type of setup. And what's cool too about Dante is we actually have a Dante Avio adapter. Oh, come down here, Luke. Yep, she's right here. So this is the Dante Avio output adapter. So it goes from Ethernet, and then it has dual XLR outputs, which go into the stereo headphone amplifier up here. So now, someone who's mixing here can listen on these headphones with this PreSonus headphone amplifier. And that's just another benefit of Dante, right? They make all sorts of little devices like that that plug into the network. You've got an output or input device, and you can monitor. Over here, we've got the Hollyland C1 Pro comm system. This is such a simple comm system. They got 4 headsets here. All you do is pop a fresh battery in, turn it on, and they just start connecting with each other. Don't need a base station, don't need any wiring or anything complicated there. Just a simple way for the team to communicate from this side of the room to the front of house or wherever they're at in the building. Once again, huge thank you to Pinal County Cowboy Church for entrusting this project to our team to get all these systems deployed. And thanks to everybody else who collaborated with us, including the Titus Building Company and all of the amazing volunteers here at Pinal County. Michael and Dutch, I want to give you guys a big thank you and a shout out. You guys, the mix engineers here at the church, best of luck with your new system. I'm definitely jealous of what you get to mix on week in and week out. And Steve, thank you so much again for deciding to work with us and partner with us on this project. It has been a blast. So if you guys would like to work with our team, check out the link below. Go to churchfront.com. We're pretty easy to get a hold of, and we'd love to come check out your church and dream with you of what could be done. If you need to renovate a space or if you're building a new space, let us know. It all starts by just hopping on a call and we can get to know your situation more and we can go from there. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, leave a like, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time.